Hey everyone, Ian Marsh here, and look, really pleased to share with you an interview that I've just recently done, well, that I'm actually doing right now with a friend of mine. He's an individual that I met probably about 6 years ago now, if my memory serves me correctly. And at the time, he was very keen to get into a niche, into an area that very few people have succeeded in. He wanted to be recognised as Australia's leading real estate coach and wanted to make sure that no buts or maybes surrounded the fact that he was very good at what he did. And I've got to tell you, there's not many people that I meet that were serious about their goals as what this gentleman was. Now, I know for a fact that as he started this journey, he did hit a number of hurdles, and a number of individuals did try to dissuade him from his dream. And what I want to do is actually share with you his journey, share with you his story. He's another Streetsmart Business School success story, if you like, because he started to understand the principles that we do our best to share with anyone that's willing to listen, so that they can have a totally different life to the one that they are probably having now. Now, I've got to tell you, when I met Glenn, he certainly did have some challenges up his sleeve. But today, a lot of that is behind him, and he has an incredible world that he's created for himself, mainly because he believed in himself. And I actually want him to share this journey with you rather than me. Now, I'm really happy to have on the call today a good friend of mine, an individual that has really lived the principles that we do our best to share, and that is Glenn Twiddle. He's kindly agreed to come and have a conversation with us, and mate, I really do appreciate you taking time out and sharing your story and your journey to becoming a seven-figure business consultant and where that world has taken you to. So welcome to the call, Glenn.
Thanks, Ian. And I tell you, mate, with an intro like that, I just can't wait to hear what I'm going to say. It's going to be awesome. But I will pull you up on something. Those challenges that I had, whilst those particular challenges are gone, because at the time, I mean, some of the things you're referring to are me earning getting a whole lot of money inflected into the business and me just spending it all on the next thing without thought to these niggly little things like tax and all that stuff, right? Because I thought if I earned $1, I could have $1. No. If you earn $1, you got to put 30% away. So it's just new challenges, Ian. The challenges aren't gone. They're just different sorts of challenges.
Isn't it fun, that lovely thing called the tax man? And I just roll my eyes when someone says, hey, if you got to pay tax, at least you're making profits. So, we all love that. We better not get down that rant today, Glenn. We won't have time for that, but it's a good problem to have.
But just know that, and that's the thing, I suppose that's the thing, is that no one should be thinking that the route to earning multi-million dollars in any given year is one without challenges. They're going to be bigger challenges, and they're going to be more challenging. It's just that, it's kind of nicer to know that you've got significant revenue to do some of the amazing things, because it's kind of, you get paid to have challenges now. Whereas back then, I had the challenges and I didn't have the money to kind of make me feel better. I don't know.
And look, Glenn, I'm glad you raised that, because look, bottom line is, if we don't have challenges, we don't keep growing. We don't keep growing, then pretty well we start dying. And that's not for me. I'm going to keep going hard until I kick the bucket, and I bet you are as well. And so, life's full of challenges. We just get better and better every day as we hit them. So look, now today, as I said, is a very different world to the one where you first walked into the Streetsmart environment. Now, what I'd love you to do is just to tell us a little bit about your journey, Glenn, where you started and how you've really sort of come to where you are today.
Yeah, I guess the thing, when you mentioned that it was a niche, if you want to call it that, a business or a sector, an industry that very few had made work, I didn't have this grandiose goal of being Australia's #1 real estate coach or information provider, owner of information business, just because I happen to love real estate. It's like I learned from you guys that it was a great place to start because I had a natural affinity with that business, having been one of them. And what I learned from you guys in the Streetsmart environment is that if you're already in that environment and you know that area, you know that client, that customer, that person who's doing business on the streets, in this case, a real estate agent, I knew them like I know me. I knew their challenges because I was one of them. So it's kind of a thing. And the reason that such well-meaning folk, and that included some of the Streetsmart, not yourself, Ian, not the leaders in Streetsmart, but some of the other Streetsmart alumni who certainly knew their stuff. They tried to talk me out of real estate. I remember one fellow that came out from America to spend some time in the Streetsmart environment. He was one of Dan Kennedy's guys, and he even said, might you be fishing in a smelly pond? Meaning, is the industry you've chosen just a bit crap and hard to make work? So the advice that was given trying to talk me out of it was well intended. They were giving me that advice to kind of protect me, I suppose. But then my thinking was, I don't have an affinity with any other pond yet, so I may as well try and make this work, especially if it may not be the smelliest of pond. It just be maybe no one's cracked the code and applied the principles in the right way. Maybe just no one's done it before. So if no one's done it before, no one had invented an iPod before. And that was no reason not to corner that market. So I think those people trying to talk me out of it were well intended, but I'm so glad they weren't successful in talking me out of it, because I'm now a category of one. There's only me in this pond. I'm the only one. I don't envy, Ian, your task, because, you're in a pond where you can teach any business how to do this stuff. So it's harder for you, Ian. You've got to be more skilled and you've got to be better at what you do than I do, because I'm the only one doing it in my pond,
Well, mate, you raised a really important point there, Glenn, and that is to trust your gut instinct. Okay, so bottom line, look, people have a lot of skills, a lot of qualifications. They may give you their opinion. And what I need to just help our viewers understand is that you have a gut instinct for a reason. And if you believe in something strongly enough, then, exactly as you said, Glenn, you took this advice from very successful people, but you still believed in yourself. And that is seriously why you are where you are today. That'd be a fair statement, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Be absolutely fair, mate. I'm glad they didn't talk me out of it, because some of the crazy stuff we'll talk about on this call, I'm sure. I mean, the last year, there isn't a dollar amount on this planet that would have bought me out of not living the last 12 months that I've lived. Unbelievable.
You've had some adventures, all right, Glenn, that's for sure. And I'm looking forward to getting to that. But what I'd really love to know as well is, look, 6 years ago, struggling real estate guy. I don't know, how much were you earning back then, ballpark, when you first came out?
When I first found Streetsmart, I was a speaker, for want of a better term, really for an REI, a real estate institute, which is the provider of, I suppose, like a TAFE instructor. Really, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Now our version in real estate of TAFE is our REIQ. I was teaching how to get the license to be a real estate agent. So really, I would speak for a little room of 30 or 40 people. I would earn a little bit of money, but I certainly wasn't in any way. You can imagine a TAFE instructor doesn't earn the sorts of incomes that a professional speaker does. So I'd gone from being a real estate agent, listing and selling, to being the owner of a real estate business. And we were number one in Brisbane. But I had this desire. I found myself, when I was coaching my own team, that I got more out of coaching them to go and get a client, go and get a successful sale, or whatever the case may be. I got more of a buzz in my kind of soul, if you want to use that term, by helping them make $8,000, of which, as the business owner, I would get a slight fraction of that. Maybe $500 would go to the company after all the expenses and all that. But I got more of a buzz helping them earn $8,000 for them than me going out earning $8,000 for me. Yeah. So I knew that coaching and speaking and being a instructor of how to do it was in my future. So the next step for me, I didn't know that this world existed that you guys play in. So I went to the REI, where they teach real estate agents how to get their license. And I did that. And that's when I came across Streetsmart. And boy, oh boy, I'm so glad whatever marketing you guys put in front of me to get me into that world. Again, these little things that happen in your life, that if any one of them didn't line up, I wouldn't have, done what I did in the last 12 months. So I'll give the viewers a hint. Played poker with Arnold Schwarzenegger a couple of months ago at his house. There you go. So it's pretty cool.
But did you win? That's the question.
Didn't matter. In fact, I didn't. But here's the deal. By getting knocked out of the poker game, I got to hang out with Arnold because he didn't play. He was the host. He didn't play. So me and Arnold just sat at his bar, drinking his booze, smoking his cigars. It was awesome. But get back to it. I mean, I have my moments where I just ramble about the joy of my life right now, but it would not have happened if Streetsmart hadn't have been the marketers they are that got my attention, that got me to come to an event that led to everything. None of that would have happened if you guys weren't the marketers you are.
And look, again, a very valid point. You know, we don't know what the future holds for individuals, but the bottom line is we create our own future. Now, just let me hazard a guess that Arnold didn't just walk up onto you, and we'll get to the story about Arnold a little bit later, but bottom line is Arnold didn't just see your number in the phone book one day, pick up the phone and say, "Oh, Glenn, happy to do it." Oh, you. It didn't really happen that way, did it?
Yeah, no. It was, of course, levels. Yeah, so what I did is I took what I learned to that first seminar, and there's the key. I mean, Ian, you yell about this at people. I hear you. I've been on the receiving end of you yelling at people to do this. I implemented what I learned at that first seminar. Yeah. And in fact, it started where I got a little free gift from you guys. And I implemented what I learned on a free gift. And it made me, I think it was like $12,000 what I learned on that free gift. But with that money, I bought my business school membership, right? And with what I earned from the business school membership, I just kept going up in levels. The next level after business school was I joined the advisor program. And, you know, as you know, that's a significant amount of money. It's not like a free gift. Why couldn't that be a free gift there? But, you know, I get it. So I invested in that. But I took all the money that I earned at these various levels, and a couple of levels up from that, let's just say, I'm in contact with Arnold Schwarzenegger's people saying, how much to come and hang out with me? How much for my childhood hero to come and play with me? Yeah. I'm like buying my mates.
Fantastic. Now, look, so along the way, and this is a very similar story, Glenn. Your story is very, very similar to my story. I'm just curious now, as you were earning these extra dollars, I don't know, you're married, aren't you, Glenn? Don't you have a wife?
Well, there's, I suppose, something else. I was probably in a relationship by default, meaning she was a wonderful woman and everything, but I was in a relationship at that time, and we weren't. She begrudgingly allowed me to go and play all this street smart fun and travel the world and travel Australia to learn from you guys. Every quarter, I would go to another city in Australia, and all of that was begrudgingly allowed. But she certainly was on a different path than mine, different risk tolerances and stuff like that. So yeah, I am with the partner now where we are so meshed. She's like a female version of me, Ian, and I know that scares the hell out of you.
Holy hell, that is a scary thought there, Glenn. Man, I thought there's only room in the world for one Glenn. Now that's fantastic, mate.
So yes, I did have a partner then. I do have a partner now. So yeah.
So bottom line, you went from saying, and actually I still remember clearly the conversation. You were agonising over the fact of when you were teaching these REIQ students or whatever and getting your payments for that. That was a secure sort of income coming in, and you know you got that regular sort of money. And I remembered us sitting down. I think we were having a beer at the time. You go, man, should I? Shouldn't I? I've got this money coming from REIQ. At least I can depend on that. But then if I go out on my own, I can make a lot more. I'm sure I can do it. You had that sort of conflicting thought going on about security and not security. So, Glenn, really, was it security though? Are you actually taking that income from the REIQ, or do you now have better security because you've now got the knowledge and the ability to literally make money whenever and however you want to make it?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a false security, but that dilemma was very, very real in that, but the decision was made for me. You know, I don't want to mince words here. The decision was made for me. They saw some of the marketing that I was experimenting with you guys, and it was all the truth. But it was telling a truth that certainly that REI did not want to hear. You know, I remember I was saying on one of my videos that I think I was re-quoting the head of the REIA, the Real Estate Institute of Australia, where he said that 7 out of 10 real estate agents won't make it into their second year, or quite like that, where it's essentially was saying that most real estate, the vast majority of real estate agents out there are either inexperienced or are about to leave the industry because they're no good. And the REIQ couldn't have one of their guys that are training for them saying that the vast majority of the people they churn out aren't that flash, aren't worthy of your commission that you're paying them. And then, you know, and it's kind of like, I can't remember the exact wording, but they kind of implied, or they flat out said words to this effect, despite the fact that it's true. And so that made up my mind for me. So they said, if you don't stop marketing like that in your private business, we're going to have to stop utilizing your services on the basis that we are. So really, my mind was made up because I was already all in on the stuff I'd learned, even in those early stages from you guys. So it was a no-brainer, but they did make the decision for me. Either stop marketing Streetsmart style or we're going to stop using you. It was a no-brainer, but it was a scary as hell no-brainer because I was leaving that security of regular gigs, regular income, you know, maybe not quite six-figure, but close to six-figure income. But I just sort of said, look, I know this other thing is going to pay me more than that, even though it wasn't yet.
Yep. And again, you see, just one decision can give you a totally different life. That's the bottom line. And you could have played safe and said, oh, okay, look, I'll behave myself, I'll conform, I'll do what I want to do, what you tell me to. Or you say, you know what? No, this is right. This is what I should do. And you went and made your own future and your own reality. Okay, so that. And
I remember I heard a speaker say, I don't know if it was on one of your stages, Ian, but I remember I heard a speaker say, sometimes the best gifts come strangely wrapped. Yeah. And that's absolutely true. It was a very badly wrapped gift that I was given by the REO.
And again, and many people I bet that are listening and watching this will attest to it. When you think the worst thing in the world has happened, generally you find that there's something really, really good that comes from that. It happens for a reason. Now, brings to the next question, and that is, what was really the motivation? What were you hoping to achieve when you actually were applying for and got accepted into the Streetsmart Business Advisor program?
Well, I saw in the Streetsmart environment, in the leaders in Streetsmart, I saw that that's what I wanted to be. You know, I looked at blokes like yourself, Ian, and I thought, okay, that's my next step. And really that advisor program offers you a chance to be you guys. You guys give it all to us. Everything you guys do, all of the techniques, all the tools, you guys give it to us. So I thought, okay, well, with the money I earned, when I reinvested that in the business school program, it made me some more money. So I just sort of thought, well, the next extension, I mean, I'm still not scared to go all in. So I did an event as a result of the training I got at business school. And that event that I got earned me about $100,000. And after all the expenses and all that, I think I had $50,000 or so left or something like that. I can't remember the exact figures, but all I know is it was about the same amount of money that I'd earned doing an event, practicing what I'd learned from you guys. Well, I thought, well, if I have to invest all of that money, you know, into becoming, going to the next level, becoming the Streetsmart leaders, becoming one of the Streetsmart leaders, well then, hell, it was money that I earned learning what they taught me anyway, so I'll just give it back to them. So that's what I did. The money that I was earning that was getting paid off to me as a result of what I'd implemented and learned, I was just adding a little bit to that and then giving it to Streetsmart to pay off the program. So my thinking was, hell, they haven't steered me wrong so far. They gave me something for free. It earned me 5 figures. I gave them 5 figures. They gave me back 6 figures. Hell, what happens if I give them even more? What happens if I give them close to 6 figures? What the hell's going to happen? And bugger me, you know, now I'm literally turning over more than $1 million a year, just shy of 2. And it's absolutely worked the way you guys applied to. And I tell you, anyone who says to me that oh, you know, I've been to one of those seminars, and when they're talking about Streetsmart, and they often aren't, they're talking about one of those other ones where they do nothing but sell you stuff and it doesn't work. I would say, well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but did you implement what they said to the degree that they told you to implement? And until you've done that, you can't say that anything does or doesn't work, because I just implemented what you guys told me. And man, I'm telling you, it worked for me.
Again, mate, you didn't try to be cleverer than the person on stage. You just did what you were told, and then you got very predictable results out of the other end. Now, that brings me to another question, and that is, so you made this investment in the advisor program, and yes, it was a sizable sum. And look, the amount of times individuals say to us that every cent they spend with Streetsmart, they get 10 to 15, every dollar they spend, they get $10 to $15 back. I mean, we just hear that over and over again. But I'm just curious, when you actually said, you know what, I'm going to do this advisor training. Yes, it's a sizable investment. What was the dynamics in the house between you and your then partner when you committed to that big decision, Glenn?
Yeah, that wasn't as friendly, probably part of the reason. You know what? It's tolerance to that sort of risk that's probably the reason we're not together anymore. I mean, literally, because that sizable investment that I made is nothing compared to the investments required to run an event with Richard Branson headlining it, with Arnold Schwarzenegger headlining it, you know, with Eric Thomas, whoever it might be, some of the world's best. So that amount of money that originally was, yeah, it was a challenge. Can't deny it. Can't deny it. I won't sugarcoat it and say, yeah, Ian, my partner was very supportive of me. No, I would say that caused tension. Perhaps that was part of because it was years later, but perhaps that was part of the reason that particular relationship didn't work out, because we had different tolerances to risk. I'm willing to go all in. You know, when I did employ Richard Branson and Arnold Schwarzenegger, every time I put on, particularly for myself, when you put on an event that costs you more than $500,000 to put on, and everyone who is part of that event, the headliners, the speakers, the venues and all that, they need to be paid 6 weeks, 8 weeks before the event. You don't make any revenue from doing this information business that I learned from you guys until either the week of the event, if you're charging money to get your tickets, sort of the week before, 2 weeks before the event, or most likely a month after the event. So, you know, you're going to be willing to put $500,000, $600,000 on the line every time you do now this is a major event. I didn't start doing this craziness. I started doing little events, you know, and you've spoken on my stage, you know, at some of these events that I've done. So you would know they're not all 1,000 people, Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that craziness. You know, there's levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, the risk of the advisor program was certainly an ROI. I got a return on investment exponentially based on that. And I would argue that none of the good fun stuff, actually I wouldn't have to argue. I promise you, none of the good fun stuff that I've done would have happened without being that Street Smart leader that I was honored that you guys kind of had me in the Street Smart environment. And I helped your clients while I was learning this stuff. Was fantastic. You guys allowed me to hone my skills with your clients. Yeah, absolutely. So, it was tense, but great investment in hindsight.
Yeah, and so I just want to speak to that. And Glenn, I mean, because I know you've helped so many individuals yourself, thousands of people, just like I have, with the knowledge that we do share, and those that really aren't street smart yet, quite rightly, probably have some reservations about the sort of world of the life we're talking about. But one of the things that really saddens me is the amount of times that I see the spouse, whether it be the husband or the wife, actually talk the other person out of doing something because they're scared, just like your partner was scared. And we're not judging her. You know, everyone has a tolerance for risk, and so you now have someone more aligned with where you want to go, and she has someone more aligned with where she wants to go. But here is the point: you are now where you are, and let's face it, you are at the top of your tree. You are pretty well the leading real estate expert. All of the real estate individuals know the name Glenn Twiddle, and when they want advice, they come to your environment to become better and hone their craft. Now,
I'd say I'm a strong number 2, Ian. There's this bloke out there called John McGrath, and John's on Shark Tank. John's on the block. John McGrath is my god. Yeah. I ain't saying I'm number 1 while John McGrath's still got a job, right? While John McGrath's still in the game, I'm a happy number 2.
And mate, I'll give that to you, but you're still up there at the top of the mountain. And what you've just done is also showing respect, as I continually do to my mentors. And so, but the bottom line is now, without that choice, and let's face it, it wouldn't have been an easy one. I had to go through them. You had to go through them. Again, no, life's full of small choices and small decisions, and those small decisions are the things that get you where you are in life. And if you're in a good place right now, chances are you made the right decisions to get there. And if you're in a bad place right now, and I'm maybe talking business, I'm talking financial, I'm talking relationship, again, it's those choices, those small choices that really you don't think like have major consequences. Well, they have huge consequences, ladies and gentlemen. And Glenn, I just really appreciate, because I believe this call is going to help an awful lot of people as we share it with them.
Well, so, I would add something to what you just said about partners and things like that. I would say that I wouldn't Look, I'm just conscious, Ian, of someone hearing my story and mortgaging their house, risking their life, perhaps, because I know that financial risk is financial problems is potentially why people might even end their life or leave partners and lose relationships and things like that. What I would say is I didn't take a risk where that was the downside. Heaven forbid, if I invested that significant amount of money I could afford, I wouldn't have liked it, right? But I would have still survived and gone forward without that money. You know what I mean? So I would suggest that literally, if the monthly investment that is being asked of you, if your wife will leave you, if the worst case scenario is not acceptable, then for goodness sake, if you're in business school, great. If you're not in business school, you absolutely must be in business school, which is a significantly lesser risk, because if you can't earn enough that you can see that this advisor program is for you in business school, then maybe the advisor program, maybe you'll be one of the ones that Ian won't accept, because he's a great judge of who's going to make it and who's not. So, don't get fired up by my story, because I implemented with the free gift. You see a pattern. I implemented with the free gift, I made money. I implemented with what I learned at business school, and I did great. So if you're on that trajectory and the next step for you is this advisor program, you jump on, because it's worth it. But if you're going to neck yourself if it doesn't work, maybe think twice. Have a one-on-one with Ian and see if he agrees that where you're heading is the right place.
And again, we are not a life raft. I actually probably say no to about 30% of the applicants that do apply to an advisor. That's quite a sizable amount of money that I say no to, but I care about our students, I care about their success, and bottom line, Glenn, is that, we don't want individuals that think we are some magic pill and that all you got to do is find this, beg, borrow and steal from somewhere and then come and see me tomorrow, life's going to be fantastic, because that's not what it's about. You've actually got to be serious and make a serious commitment. But I'm just going to add another thing, and this is for all of the wives out there, all of the husbands out there. You are responsible for your life. You work out where you want to go. You work out what you want to do. And then it's up to you whether you take that path or not. We live in Australia, and you don't have a gun pointed at your head saying you're not allowed to do anything. We actually have the freedom to do what we want. We're all very, very lucky. And I wish more of us would appreciate how lucky we are to live in Australia. But ladies and gentlemen, you are responsible for where you are in life. And it's only you that can change that situation. Okay, so very, very important point. Now, Glenn, just to take it from a layman's perspective, and you far from being a layman now, my friend.
I'm a layman, mate. I'm the most lay of the layman, bro.
You've been in the environment for a long time. You've gone through the training, and in fact, you actually even did the training twice. You came back and reinforced, and I still remember you saying to me, man, it so fell into place the second time that I came back to do the training again. Because I'll let you come back, just cover your food and come back and reinforce that knowledge. But from a layman's perspective, what sort of individual do you feel could succeed with the processes and the training that I give? What type of individual could succeed in this business if they were serious, do you think?
I don't think they need anything, because I've seen people succeed as business. Like, a lot of people see me and they think, oh, Glenn, it's all good for you because you've got this enthusiasm. Well, yeah, I guess I'm enthusiastic, I suppose. But I've seen people not as enthusiastic and bounce off the walls as me make it. There are, because I attract that sort of client, of course. And believe me, I repel anyone who is more nuts and bolts and figures and, that sort of introverted personality. I scare them off. So there's a coach out there for those types of personalities. So I don't think there's any sort of personality or background or whatever. I think maybe it might be helpful if you have a strong desire to advise other businesses. That means you probably are wanting to build a business where you are maybe like me, where you will happily take a little bit of money to see someone else make a lot than you wanting to earn a lot and you wanting to be focused on you being a seven-figure. I tell you, for you to become a seven-figure business consultant, my belief is you've got to help make other people eight-figure business consultants, or collectively, you've got to make a whole bunch of other seven-figure businesses. Let me just throw to this, Ian, on this principle here.
Sure.
I'm just going to share my screen. this is a group of my people that I've helped. Now, there's only 30 of them, and I've helped hundreds, and if not thousands of them, but this is 30 of them. See what I'm sitting on there? They decided to chip in and buy me a Harley Davidson, right? And now, of course, I learned from you, get free publicity. So there, I train my clients so well. I didn't even know about this. They had the Courier Mail there, knowing that I taught them that when something's newsworthy, you get in the paper. So there's me in the Courier Mail. Now, it wasn't just a big orgy with everyone kissing, but that is, by the way, and if anyone doubts my ability to persuade and sell, there is your evidence, because this there is my partner, Naomi. This there is my client, bloody hell. It's Kylie, I think. Kylie, and that there is my client, Danelle Weissman, and her partner, Jonna. I mean, so that was the night, though. But and here's a big lesson for you guys as advisors. There's the Harley. There's my boy on the back. That's my little girl, Lauren. Look at the look on her face. See, what my clients did. Now, collectively, and they paid me, I added it up, they paid me over $500,000 in fees for my services or whatever. But I over-delivered so much, and I charged them a reasonable fee. I mean, $500,000 divided by that amount of people, it's a lot of money. But I over-delivered so much, they saw fit to buy me that Harley Davidson. I don't even know how much it's worth, and put that look on my daughter's face. So it's that old saying from Zig Ziglar that help enough people get what they want, and you can have everything you want. So I suppose, to just answer your question, Ian, if someone doesn't have a desire to do that to that degree, I think part of my success, Ian, is I want them to succeed. I believe in them sometimes more than they believe in themselves. Yes. So if you've got that trait, you'll go above and beyond. You'll give everything you've got to bring them the leaders they want to learn from, Richard Branson, Gary Vaynerchuk, whoever it might be, which is what I do. I invest everything I can into putting on better learning environments for my guys than anyone else will. And I think that stems from that desire for me to give more to my guys than I ask for in return. So I know it's a long way to answer your question, Ian, but if someone's got that, they should sign up immediately.
Yeah. And Glenn, I could not have put that any better. See, money's only paper. Money, it's not the thing that'll actually make you successful. It's really the things that money can allow you to do. And when you see that you can help someone else become successful, man, there's no better way to make a living, Glenn. And you're just living proof with that, the response that you got from your students. Man, I'm jealous. I mean, blooming hell. Harley, this is fantastic, mate. I would have gotten you a case of cookies. But anyway.
Oh man, I was in tears, bro. I tell you, because it was a surprise. They'd conspired in a secret Facebook group led by one of my main students.
Yeah.
Here's what they do, because Naomi was in on it. They'd add her to the group. They'd conspire and they'd say, "What sort of bike are we getting?" and blah 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 blah. But then they'd kick her out of the group in case I ever accidentally looked at her phone. Who can keep? What group of salespeople can keep a secret for 6 months? They did.
I kid you. Spectacular. So now, but here's the bottom line. There's no way that they would have gotten you that fantastic gift if they hadn't have gotten massive returns on their investment, just like you got on your investment with us,
Absolutely.
So mate, look, it is a fantastic way for us to make a living. We know this. But look, I just want to ask you another question. You've, again, been in our environment for a long time. Was it just you that you saw achieve amazing success and improve your lives, or have you seen other businesses? I know it's me saying to people, hey, listen, I've helped this person, this person, this person. I want it to come from a third-party individual. So other people that you've seen in Streetsmart, have you seen amazing successes in your time, just as you've had massive success? Absolutely.
100% of the people that I saw implement to the degree that, okay, not everyone maybe went as crazy as I did, but 100% of the people who I see implement the strategies, so long as they've got message to market match with their environment, saw amazing success. But here's the embarrassing thing, Ian. When I was early in your environment, I mean, first couple of Streetsmart Business Schools even. Yeah. One of the other success stories in there, who was a speaker on the stage, he called me up and he pulled me aside and he said, mate, what you're doing is just fantastic, mate. And he nicknamed me the Implementation King, right? And I thought, wait a minute, how is it that I paid all this money to learn this stuff? I went and implemented and it succeeded and did well. Why is it that I'm the guy that at the next business school, Mel wants to call up and share for 20 minutes, or Ian calls me up and shares for a few minutes or whatever? You guys as leaders started edifying me as this implementation guy, you know, and again, it wasn't just this one fellow, Brett. It was Brett and yourself and all these other. And I think, how is it that I'm the one? What's with all these other guys? You know, wait a minute, I paid some money to get some information to learn what to do, and I'm idolized for going and doing it. So no, Ian, I wasn't a one-off, but I tell you what amazed me is how come everyone wasn't? How come? They just weren't implementing. They would come back business school after business school with reasons that it didn't work. And those few of us, and not even few, those of us we kind of collectively got together because we didn't want to hear why it didn't work. We wanted to study from each other what worked. Yeah. And there was so many of us that it worked that those ones where they were saying it didn't, it's hard to help them, even though I wanted to sometimes strangle them and say, come and work with me then. You know, I'll give you a job. You know, because obviously you're finding a way to make this not work, but I don't get it, Ian. But I tell you, there were, of course, a bunch of other people. There were copywriters that were learning alongside me that now I employ high fees to write copy for me. I met my web guy in your environment, my website guy who makes all my websites. I met the person who makes my slides in your environment. You know, if ever you come to my event and you see my slides up there and they look familiar, it's because your guy makes my slides. You know, and all of these guys aren't doing it for overseas worker payments. You know, you help train the best of the best in their field, and I go to them for advice in their field. You know what I mean? Whether it's search engine optimization, whether it's Facebook stuff, those success stories that I see as alumni of Streetsmart, they're the people I use to this day in my business.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's just about decisions, mate. And you make the right ones and you get the right results. Now, just someone, again, that's watching this and is maybe interested in becoming an advisor, perhaps, conservatively, Glenn. I mean, looking at the systems I've put together, the marketing systems, the sales conversion systems, the systematic way that you actually help improve the business. What do you think somebody that's, say, coming from a background of, I don't know, they've been a sales rep or something like that, and they get into decide to become a business consultant, what sort of reasonable income do you think they could achieve for themselves, say within the first year, if they really put their head down and their backside up?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I've seen people make $0. Not as alumni of your program, but I've seen business consultants making nothing, begging me for a spot speaking on their stage. Because, you know, I remember I saw one fellow proponing to be a business consultant, and I promise you, he was not a Streetsmart advisor because I know him well. He was proponing to be an expert. He was proponing to be a sales and marketing expert. And I remember he proudly put on his Facebook, and I just cannot for the life of me think why he would have done this, but he did. And look, I suppose I've got to respect that he put it out there, but he's a sales and marketing expert who's going to teach you how to improve your business, sell and market well. And he had an event in Sydney for $47, and he had one person show up to it. One person pay the money. So what he did is, credit to him, he had a one-on-one with that person for $47 for a couple of hours, happy days, right? So that's horrible because we've seen business consultants earn nothing, earn $47 for, you know, to do an event for one-on-one, you know, so not good. So there's the chance you could earn $0 if you don't implement. Yeah. But if you implement, what I love is this business, I can earn whatever I am willing to put the work in to earn. If I want to earn $2 million a year, which is about where I'm at, just under, then I know what it takes to earn that. I need to see a certain amount of people. I need to do a certain amount of front-end appointments, and many of those lead generation strategies you taught me, Ian, I still use to this day. And one of the principles you taught me that I absolutely still live by is that it's not one way I'm going to get, say I'm not doing, I like doing one-to-many conversions, meaning I speak in front of, you know, 700 people, and the 70 of them that connect with me and apply to do something, and then 35 of them actually qualify and I do something. So that's how I get 35 people to work with in any given 6-month period or whatever the case may be. But you taught me it ain't one way I'm getting, so say 30 is my number that I want. I want to get 30 opportunities to help a business. Yeah. It's not one way I'm going to get 30. It's 30 little mini marketing systems that are going to get me one. You know, so my referral strategy that I've implemented, my front end lead generation strategy, my gift that I have on the front end, my giveaway free gift, that all comes into a funnel that gets me my numbers that I need to require. So I just know my numbers. I know that what's going to work will require a certain amount at the top, a certain amount that gets to level 2, and a certain amount that gets to level 3. So the answer to your question is, could someone earn 50 grand a year and just etch out a living part-time? Absolutely. Could someone earn millions a year? Absolutely. I've seen it and I do it. And everywhere in between, depending on the dedication of the person wanting to implement. See, not everyone's going to want to be an idiot like me and get up at 4 a.m. and you know, get to bed sometimes after midnight. Not everyone's going to want to do that. Now, I don't do that all the time, but when I'm on a push, on a marketing push, you won't catch me asleep. If someone calls me at 2 a.m., I'll be, hello, Glenn Twiddle speaking. I'll do my best to shake the cobwebs and I'll answer the phone, because if there's business to be done, what if that was a 5 bums on seat phone call? I'll take it. I'll do whatever it takes. Not everyone's willing to do whatever it takes, but the answer is, Ian, anywhere from 0 to, and I can only speak for me, to 1.8 million or 1.9 million or whatever it is that I'm in the middle of this year, which I've done for the last couple of years. Anywhere between that I can speak to, that's possible. And it's up to the person who wants to do it, how much they want to take, you know?
Again, mate, well said, because if you don't apply the information and you don't do what needs to be done, there's no way you're going to get what should be gotten. Now, just for those again on the call, I think you were in the same environment as Tracy Eaton and Yvette Shoulders. Do you remember those two ladies at all? Tracy, you
they were in one of the 2 that I did. I think they were in the second one, from memory. Yep. And they became quite instrumental in Streetsmart, if I remember correctly. They became your lead advisors, and correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's true. Yeah. So I actually had them running my masteries for a while, and they're now actually so busy that they hardly have time to even pick up the phone and talk to me. You know. So
again, and that's my apology, Ian, and that's why I've been a bit absent from the business school in years gone by, mate. I've been so busy, I haven't had the time to come to the very environment where I learned all this stuff, and it's remiss of me because of just sheer volume of me doing what I learned. Yeah. As soon as it stops working, Ian, I'll be back every business school. Ian, what's next?
Couldn't be happier for you, mate. So look, the bottom line is, you're not the only one that became successful. There's many other business advisors that have done the training. In fact, statistically, it's sitting at about 70%, I would say, of people that have become successful to varying levels with you know, becoming an advisor, right from, as you said, earning $50,000 right up to earning, you know, 7 figures. And we just don't make it up. And Glenn's not the only one doing 7 figures, obviously. So now, another thing I just wanted to cover off on. Now, when a lot of people are thinking about becoming a business consultant, they've generally got 3 worries, big worries. One is, well, will I be able to generate leads to be able to grow my business? And another one is, well, gosh, if I get a lead, would I be able to turn into a client? And then the final one, which really comes out of integrity as well, is if you take someone's money, could you actually help that person improve their business? So looking at the system and the process that I've taught you, how would you answer those 3 fears that some people may have?
Yeah, well, I mean, we alluded to it a moment ago. If within 30 marketing systems and lead generation systems, at least, I can't even count the amount that I've learned from you guys. But within them, if you can't find one that will generate you enough opportunities to help a business, then you just didn't implement. It's just that simple. There's no way to not generate enough leads. There's enough businesses out there that are struggling with the fallout rate of businesses that they start in business and they're not there in the next 3-5 years or whatever it is. The amount of failing businesses out there, the amount of businesses that I see with horrible customer service, and that includes small business all the way through to the largest banks, could all use someone to say, hey, your customer service stinks and I'm here to help you. You know, there's enough struggling people out there looking for help. The fact that I'm running real estate marketing and positioning seminars, right, for real estate agents, and I've had so many normal business owners, I've had, you know, accountants come to me saying, hey, would I learn enough in your environment? I know it says, you know, titans of real estate, but could I come? You know, the fact that they're that thirsty for knowledge that they'll come to a real estate seminar just because they suspect there might be something they can learn, then there's business owners out there that need help, that need learning. So there's plenty. If you can't get to a struggling business owner each and every day and say, hey, you want some help? Then you didn't ask anyone, because you could just do that, just living your life out in the world, finding business owners that need help. And okay, sure, and maybe only 1 in 10 acknowledge that they could do with a little bit of extra profit. There's certainly no shortage of businesses that need help, and you teach us every way possible, every media possible to get a message to those. And you even teach us what message to give them that'll get their attention. You know, because one of the things that business owners got in common, they're so busy that it's hard to get their attention. So you teach us so many ways to make them go, junk, 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 what the hell's this? You know, so there's that. And, you know, I love your conversion strategies. They're so gentle that it's almost like saying, hey, if I make you an extra $100, can I have an extra $2 of the 100? Is that okay? What idiot's going to say no to that? And yet that's one of many of your conversion strategies. Yes. So the conversion will absolutely be taken care of, because you're not asking your people to ask for money. You're asking them for a slice of the upside, you know? And I tell you, if any of your guys can help me and they'll only take a slice of the upside, I'll hire them. Yeah. Problem is, you're going to have to be pretty damn sharp. I'm not bragging here, but I've been studying Streetsmart's principles for 7 years. You better be damn well good if you want to outdo me, because I do 18-hour days, and at least 4 of those hours on most days, I'm listening to professional development on my phone or on whatever. So, but I'll hire you. So that includes me. So that means, you know, so the conversions are going to be not a problem if you implement it. See, but if you go in with a wishy-washy script with no confidence, with no presentation, without rehearsing your scripts and your dialogues and all of that sort of thing, me and every other business owner is going to turf you out on your ear. But you won't have an excuse that you don't have the tools. The only excuse you'll have for not making it work is you didn't use the tools and implement them well. So, and I suppose being able to help the clients get the result that they want. When I look at 9 out of 10 businesses out there, I can just walk into a business and look at 1, 2, 5 things they could do to improve their bottom line. Whether that's the fact that their waged person that is sitting there on the cash register just says an embarrassingly poor script that almost drives me out the door without getting my money. You know, it's almost like some of these waged employees are trained so poorly, or not trained at all, that that business owner needs smacking upside around the head, because it's almost like they're employing sales repulsion departments, not sales attraction departments. So there is absolute, I mean, if they're this far into this interview, they are the sort of person that recognizes 9 out of 10 businesses out there either are empty coffee shops with no one filling the seats, they've got rude waiters, they're not upselling, they're not cross-selling, they're not encouraging repeat businesses to come back. Any one of those 3 things, either getting more sales and more customers, increasing the amount of money they spend while they're there, or getting them to come back 3 times a week instead of once a fortnight, any one of those 3 things will 1x, 2x, 3x that business. What if you did all 3 at once? Yeah. Man, if you can't,
you're on your own Harley Davidson, mate. That's what you do. Fantastic. And again, so it's not rocket science. And that brings me to the next question. Do you reckon, some people think, oh, what qualifications have I got? What gives me the right to go and help other people? Now, I can only speak for myself. I can tell you I'm a straight C student, and I'll also say, just like you, Glenn, like I'm preparing for business school right now. I swear to God, the best ever. I got 3 hours sleep last night, okay, because that's what successful people do. Donald Trump survives on 4 hours sleep a night, okay? Now, we choose when and how we spend our time. We do this because we love it. We don't have to do it. But you got to do what it takes to get the goal completed. All right. So to academics, people that think they need a certificate on the wall, what would you say to those people, Glenn?
Well, I don't have one. What have I got on the wall? What's that? No, it's nothing. Painting. On my wall in my other office, I've got a photo of me hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that's my degree. Yeah. There you go. Wait, let me just bring it up. There you go. Wait. But no, I don't have one. But I would even say, Ian, that while I just find this, I would even say, oh, there's me hanging out. There's Huey Lewis, Ian. I love Huey Lewis in the news. One of my students set that up. But let me one of my students set that up. Yeah, to meet and greet Huey Lewis. That's pretty cool. But I mean, that's hanging on my wall. There's my degree. That's as close as I'm going to get. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger's backyard. You know, if you notice there, that's Tim Ferriss from 4 Hour Workweek in the Backyard. You put that on the wall and do an interview with a client, that'll get you 10 times more than if I've got a MBA on the wall. But here's the thing. It's almost like that. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing to have a college education and all that sort of thing, but if you hanging your hat on your pride of your college degree is somewhere in your head thinking that that entitles you to something, then I believe that that's a detriment. Not only is it neutral to not have one, I think I've fought harder because I don't have one. But that being said, look, if you've got a college degree and you've gone and implemented and failed, then you've already known, well, I need something different than what they taught me at the uni. I better go and investigate and see what else there is out there. Because what I learned from you guys is certainly I know it's not what they teach in a marketing degree. It's not what they teach in an MBA. It is street smart. It's actually helping a business get more customers, get them to buy more often, get them to buy a higher price point. And when those things, and sometimes it even teaches that business owner, which I've done, I've taught real estate agents to become more than they are, to go to that next level and become maybe a real estate coach and a speaker and a trainer. I know one guy, he still is a listing and selling real estate agent, one of my students, but he also owns a company that he wanted a particular service for his company to help promote properties. It was like a video production company, and no one did what he wanted to do. You know those 3D round things where you hold your phone and you can, like virtual reality? No one was doing that. So he started the company himself a few months ago. It's now up and running. So we've helped someone who started off doing the thing that he wanted me to help him do better, but he ended up becoming more than the thing. So, I mean, to answer the question, the academics, don't worry about that, because you will be you'll be equipped to help people do far more than you think you'll probably be equipped to help them do at this stage of your career.
So thanks, Glenn. And look, I don't say for 1 second that it's not massively beneficial. Will it help you? Well, yeah, because, you know, maybe the academic side of things, I probably will fit that into my to-do one day, to actually do a degree of some sort and learn the other side of the fence, if you like. But that in no way slows you down from actually helping other people, helping them achieve success. And in so doing, you actually become very successful yourself.
You know what I'd like to add, Ian? I know the work schedule that people do when they do their college. If they could retain just that, just the study schedule where you have to do hours and hours and hours of study, days and weeks of study, cramming all night for the exam. If you can retain from your college academia that learning capacity, I think that'll be the greatest thing that you've ever done, because then you'll actually listen to the supplemental materials. You'll actually read the literal bookshelf that Ian's going to fill you up with. I mean, literally, I don't know how many boxes there were that I got with my thing, but that curriculum is a library of business success. So
it's a university degree, mate, but it's a street smart university degree, you know.
Correct.
Now, buddy, I do want to cover off now, and I do thank you for your time, and we're really appreciative, because I know we've got a little bit longer than we expected. But here's the thing. I know a lot of our listeners would love to hear some stories about the Bransons and the Schwarzeneggers and how that world came about, and really how you actually ended up actually over at Arnold's house in, where is his, at Miami? Whereabouts is his place?
Santa Monica. He owns half of Santa Monica, because one of the real good things about Arnold, and the reason he could add value to a real estate crowd, not only is he successful, the world's best in bodybuilding, the world's best in movies, and as far up in American politics as he could possibly be. He can't be president because he wasn't born there, you know. So governor was all he could do. But he owns half of Santa Monica, because he took all his early earnings and he just kept buying real estate and buying real estate and buying real estate. So he's a real real estate tycoon. So that's kind of one of the reasons that he was so message to market match. It wasn't perfect, but you know, he's the biggest star. He's got the biggest brand on the planet, surpassing 3-4 decades. I think, he definitely, and he was a great speaker. You know, he was a great speaker.
Yeah. Mate, I watched End of Days last night. I just watched one. Arnie's one of my heroes, mate. He's one of my heroes. Now, the other thing...
Actually, it's one thing I'd learned from you, Ian. I don't know if this is going to come through. It probably won't.
Yeah, no, it's looking perfect. Yeah.
No, we're not getting sound.
The sound.
One of the things I learned from you, what Arnold is sitting there saying, is how great Glenn Twiddle is. Because one of the things I learned from you, Ian, is do not go anywhere without the ability to get a video testimonial. So I got one from Arnold Schwarzenegger saying Glenn Twiddle's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, man. I tell you what,
it was pretty cool.
That's worth bottling. And mate, your feedback on Richard Branson. So what was the story there, and how did that go down?
Well, it happened because after we pulled off the thing with Arnold, it was arguably the greatest event. I had feedback from many, many people, like hundreds of people, that it was the best training event they'd ever been to. So I had everyone coming to me saying, what are you gonna do now, smart ass? You know, as if, how can you top that, right? Yep. So I had a list: Michael Jordan, Oprah, Richard Branson, Sylvester Stallone. I had a list of all the people that I wanted to do the follow-up. And Richard Branson, with Michael Jordan, Oprah, and Richard Branson were the top three.
Yeah.
And so Oprah, I never heard back from. Michael Jordan, I did get a response back from Michael Jordan saying, under no circumstances, Glenn, will I come and play with you. Right? But
Hey.
Richard Branson, it's okay to get rejected by MJ, right? But Richard Branson's people came back and said, look, at this stage, we're not planning on doing anything in Australia in 2016, which is when I wanted. See, I went to Richard in early 2015 after Arnold, you know, April 2015. And so they said, look, in 2016, next year, we're not planning on doing anything in Australia at this stage. And then, and I quote, because I read this email probably 100 times, but it would be great if we could do something in September this year. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. Because when Richard Branson says he wants to do something with you, Ian, you say yes and you figure it out later. In fact, it's one of Richard's quotes. If someone presents you with a great opportunity and you don't know how to do it, say yes and then figure it out later. Well, that's exactly what I did. I just said, okay. And then I thought, I called up a few of my mates and other real estate speakers. I called up John McGrath, I called up Tom Panos, and I just said, uh-oh, what have I done? What have I got myself into now? Yeah. So, and then we pulled this off. And look, it was again heralded as the best thing in real estate in Australian history. Yeah. And I mentioned my mate John McGrath before, and I'm going to mention him again. Here's John. John spoke at this event. John has the most successful real estate training company in this country. Called Aric, and it's number one, right? It's number one, and John is just a genius. But what does that say about him as a man? That he will come and he will help make my event, because he was a large part of that being a phenomenal success. He pulled off, in my opinion, one of the best speeches I've ever seen him speak, and I've seen him speak dozens of times. Yeah. He was the best speech I've ever seen him speak. So he's adding to how good my business is as a really, I suppose, in some ways, a competitor to his. Yeah. What does that say about how good a bloke that is? Yeah. You know, so, and that was us on stage. Richard decided my attire wasn't to his liking. So he decided to pull out the scissors and kind of make some adjustments to my apparel. And in fact, the hot pink color of my tie even. I learned that from your environment as well. So, so much, if any of your students, Ian, would see your influence written all over my business, because it's very clear. And of course, now we got Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, arguably one of the greatest marketers on this planet. We got Gary V coming to hang out with us as well. So, mate, I'm loving where I've gone thanks to you guys.
Well, Glenn, look, what we're going to do now, I mean, this has been so educational. Anyone that has a listen just to this, the journey that you've taken is going to get some real powerful insights from it. But what I'd love you to do is just, if you could just think of probably the top three principles that you've gained that have helped you achieve the massive success that you have achieved. What do you believe those three things would be?
Okay. Well, I know the number one. Let me try and think of the number two and three. Number three would be take names. Right? You need to get the biggest database of people you can possibly get by any means necessary. Now, bigger is better, but I would like it if it was niched. It's been easier for me to become the Streetsmart educational equivalent, because you guys help all businesses. I only niche to real estate agencies. So, but it's been far easier for me to become that leader you know, and I do happily say John McGrath's the man and I'm just a man kind of doing okay. But I'm up near the top somewhere, nipping at the heels of all of the people who taught me how to do this. Yeah. And when I say that in the real estate space, because I learned from all the real estate gurus as well. You know, I learned everything there was to know about everything. And so for me to have got there, it's been easier for me to get there than it would be for me to become Gary Vaynerchuk or Ian Marsh or whoever it might be that are our mentors. Again, I know that, you know, one of my mentors that again is one of your mentors, Ian Mal Emery, we mentioned before. You know, Mal even says that I shaved my head just in case so I could look a bit like him, right? So I would say it's easier for me to have become me to a niche, if you will, to an industry, to a specialized world, than it would have been for me to have become the next Gary Vaynerchuk, the next Dan Kennedy, etc. Yep. So niching, I think, is important, but that niche has got to have a capacity to want to do better. See, that's why those people give me that advice, don't fish in a smelly pond, is because there would be some ponds out there. If you became the niche specialist for, say, you know, tow truck drivers, well, what if tow truck drivers don't want to get as an industry any better? And I only just picked that out of the blue because tow truck went by.
It's a sharp mind, I'm telling you now, a sharp mind, yeah. And that's it's a good analogy, mate. And by the way, I'm sure tow truck drivers are very motivated, and I also know, Glenn, they're very big. Okay, so tow truck drivers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. So look, but I tell you what a tow truck driver's got, if he's got a lot of time in the cab to be listening to information like this, I tell you what, they won't be a tow truck driver for much longer, or they'll own Reedy truck driving tow school or whatever. You know, they'll own the company. So that'd be one. Get as many names in a niche, preferably, but as many contact details as you can. So number two is make sure you implement, be a lifelong learner and a lifelong implementer. So what I mean by that is, whatever you're learning, when you learn something, don't just learn something and be motivated for 5 minutes. Learn something and take notes, write down an action and take an action based on that learning. If you're in the seminar room, I wasn't, you know, afraid of, if I were at a seminar at a Streetsmart event, running out in the lunch break or forget eating, forget drinking, I'd be on the phone to my assistant saying, here's what we're going to do, and I'll be implementing while I'm at the seminar. Yeah. You know, I'm sure it's not the only time I got in trouble from Ian for having my laptop open, because I'm busy implementing while they're teaching me the stuff, you know. So be a lifelong learner, be a lifelong implementer. That's number two. And number one is my favorite. It's the thing I live by. It's the best business advice I've got. And that's get video testimonials. I remember the challenge Ian set out for us years ago was if you catch him without the ability to capture a video testimonial within a few minutes, like if he's on stage speaking, if it's in his bag, you don't get the money, but he'll hand you $300, right? I lived by that. And when I was at Arnold's, here's what happened. Now, where is that slide? It's got to be around here somewhere. When I was at Arnold's, where's all the Arnold stuff? No, it's not there. Oh, it might be here. Yeah, it is. It's here. Okay, so the two types of testimonials you can get are specific. Now, that's a testimonial from someone like Ian could get from me as a direct result of, let me make it full screen so Ian can cut this out at some stage. Let's stop share. So I'm looking down the lens. Ian now has this on video to do with as he will. Look, as a direct result of what I learned from Streetsmart Business School, I went from being a struggling REIQ little, like one step above a TAFE instructor, and I went all the way to doing just shy of a couple of $1 million a year in the information marketing business. And if I hadn't have learned what I learned from Streetsmart marketing, none of that would have happened. So there's a specific one, right? That's an example of a specific testimonial, like a results-ridden testimonial. And they're, of course, so powerful and they're so great. So we want to get some of them. And I've got 1 million real estate agents saying 1 million things about how great Glenn Twiddle is and how great his result is. But what if someone's starting out new in business? They might not be able to get a video testimonial that speaks directly to results. So as an advisor, of course, one of the first things you should do is go work for a company for free just so you can get a video testimonial. But the next one, if you can get someone, say you only know some, and you can get someone to look down the lens and say, you know, I've known Ian Marsh for the better part of, a decade. And in that time, I've found him to be a man of his word. He'll die before he goes back on a commitment that he makes to you, blah, 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 right? That's a character testimonial. And if you can't get someone to say, look, in your business life or in your personal life or both, you've seen this person be a person of honor who will die before he goes back on his word. So if you've got the chance to do business with you, then you should put them on your shopping list in the field that you're in. If you can't get someone to say that, then you're screwed. That's a character testimonial. And I tell you, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this, someone just grabbed this. Thank God they did, because it was at this moment, Arnold was telling this guy, and I don't know who he is, how fantastic Glenn Twiddle is, and he is fantastic and all of that. And I'm sitting there, my marketing radar that was instilled in the Streetsmart environment went off the hook. Yeah. I was sitting there going, where's my camera? Because I took my camera just in case, right? And Naomi's out the front of Arnold's house, because this is getting towards the end of the night. She's ordering an Uber out the front. So I'm sitting there running around Arnold Schwarzenegger's house. I excused myself from this conversation as quickly as I could. I'm running around Arnold's house in Santa Monica like a lunatic, looking for Naomi and my damn camera. She must have read my mind. This is how I know I've got a soulmate. And I didn't say, no, where's my camera? She was out the front. She heard me asking a few people inside from out the front. So I must be going, where's Naomi, where's Naomi, where's Naomi? And so she comes out, camera outstretched in her outstretched hand. And then I went back to Arnold and I used the same script I learned from you guys. I said this. I said, Arnold, what you were saying to old mate before, it's just fantastic. Now, someone told me that this guy he was talking to is one of the most powerful men in the world. Someone said that he's more powerful than the president. I don't even know who he is. Some secretary of somewhere, right? Real powerful dude. And Arnold's telling him how fantastic I am. So I said to Arnold, Arnold, you don't mind if I just capture, just on my little camera here, some of those things you were saying to old mate. It'd really give the guys at home, they'd be tickled pink if some of my students and stuff could hear some of those sentiments that you were telling him. So look, you know how, you're no stranger to a camera, mate. Just look down the lens and say that. And Arnold looked down the lens and said how great a bloke Glenn Twiddle is, how I love this guy, he's fantastic, he's great marketing, he had thousands of people at his event. And then he finished it off by looking down the lens and he goes, he's fantastic, I can't wait to work more with him, I can't wait to see him again. And I can't wait to do another speech for him. Hasta la vista, baby. And let me just say, I don't care how good the video testimonials you've got, I have the belt. Mate, I am the champion.
I'm not even going to try and compete with that, buddy. You absolutely have it.
Until Ian, I'll throw it out there. Here's the challenge. When you get Oprah to say Ian Marsh is the greatest in the world, I will hand you the belt. Until then,
okay, so
I'm the champion.
Okay,
it's on.
If you want to take it on, okay.
But I mean, you think about that. But Ian, I know that we're having some fun with that. But how much money is that skill you taught me? How much money is that worth?
Mate,
to have Arnold Schwarzenegger endorsing me.
It's
multiple.
You would have to pay a fortune. In fact, you could probably not get it because it's so tied up with deals and contracts and everything. So you just pulled off a coup of the century. And so look, bottom line, I take my hat off to you. The reason you are where you are is because you deserve to be where you are, Glenn. It's because of the decisions and the choices that you've made. You are a credit. And
actually, Ian, thank you. But let me interrupt with just one last point. You mentioned that I've made a lot of good decisions, and maybe I have. But boy, oh boy, I've made some screw-ups along the way. I make them. I just make them, and they're not always right.
Yep.
You know.
Actually, I'm glad you did say that. Okay, you and I are very similar. You see, we're not scared to look bad before we get very good. You follow where I'm coming from? We're not scared to look bad before we get very good. We're very good today because we're willing to look bad yesterday. And most people just aren't willing to look bad. Okay, so there's that one. And the other big takeaway, I've always lived by this, and that is always let someone else tell you no. Never tell yourself no. If you had to tell yourself no, I'll never get Arnold, I'll never get Richard, I'll never get Oprah, what chance would you have had? But the simple thing, having the courage to do it, once again, you deserve to be where you are, Glenn. I'll take my hat off to you. Glenn, can't thank you enough for your time. Really been educational. The takeaways from this meeting have been spectacular. This would be one of my all-time favourite interviews that I believe I've done. And wish you all the best for the future, sir. You take care of yourself.
Thanks. No, my pleasure, my man. I'm always an advocate of giving back to the environments. I hate it when I see people learn something in environment, go on to great success, and then fail to acknowledge that environment from which they came. So, mate, I'm there whenever you need me, my man. And I appreciate, everything you've done, mate. I appreciate it all, mate.